Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO. And for those of you that don't know our story, Ron and I did 15 years in the prison system. Ron doing time on the inside, but the kids and I did the time on the outside.
Now, out of our experience, we were able to develop a powerful, life-changing curriculum called TYRO. TYRO is a Latin word which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, a warrior, or a founding father.
And what TYRO really seeks to do, and what our passion is to help you, Dad, become a leader in your home, your community, and your workplace. We've taken all of the things that we learned through our 15-year journey that helped us to build a healthy, strong, thriving family, and we put them into curriculum so that we can help every person coming behind us.
You know, one thing we found out that the hardest job any man could have is fathering from behind bars.
For sure.
You know, and dads, there's no manual, there's nothing that's gonna help you really when you get there to understand what you're about ready to experience and what you're facing. And for those of you who have been there a little while, you know exactly what we're talking about. So TYRO has come alongside with you to help empower you to really overcome and to see every barrier as not a problem, but a challenge, that's something that you could become better to help empower your family right from where you're at.
And so this TV show is part of our outreach into providing information to you to help you become the best dad you can be, even where you are. And so today is no exception. We have got a great guest. You guys are gonna just love Pastor Jim Wenger. And he's gonna be here and he's gonna be talking about what he does, why he does it, and really how that can be applicable to you in your life. In particular, we're really gonna focus today on stewardship.
You know, and we're so thankful to have Pastor Jim with us today. And really, this is a message to all of us to surround ourselves with men of integrity, men of honor, men of good character who can help equip us to be ready. So when you do leave the cage or the penitentiary or whatever you want to call it, when you leave that environment, that you're not only equipped and ready to do the job at hand, right, but to be the best man, the best father, the best husband, the best employee, the best person you can be for anyone who comes into your life.
And you might be thinking, okay, well, you know, I'm not really looking for a church, so I don't really know if I want to watch this. But this is not about finding a church. This isn't about coming to Pastor Jim's church.
That's a good word.
Pastor Jim is out in the community. As a matter of fact, he and his church help us provide family days inside the institution so that you can connect with your kids. He and his wife have actually volunteered for those family days. And so you are not going to miss out on meeting Pastor Jim today.
So thank you for joining us today. We know that you're going to get a lot out of it. So stay tuned and we'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You will begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine TYRO's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
And today we have a great guest with us today. And you know what? It's not only a blessing to have Pastor Jim with us, but Pastor Jim is actually just down the road.
Yeah, which is
I'm a neighbor.
awesome.
You're a neighbor.
That's right, you're a neighbor.
Right. Like Mr. Rogers.
I don't know, I would say he's a little bit better neighbor than probably Mr. Rogers.
Okay, all right. So Pastor Jim, thank you for coming. It's great to have you on.
Oh, great to be here.
Yeah, it's gonna
Awesome.
be.
Thank you.
So what we're going to talk about today is really, you know, what do you get to do outside of just behind the pulpit, right? I mean, there's a lot more to it than just
There's
that,
a lot
right?
more to that. I'm a pastor, and to be a pastor means that I shepherd. And so it's helping care for my people, and it takes a lot of different forms and ways in which that I am there to help support people. A lot of times my kids, would tell their friends, what's your dad do? Well, he's a pastor. Well, what's he do the rest of the week? I'm busy.
But that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm working.
That's a good
That's
question.
awesome, because a lot of people have that idea. They think, oh, okay, you're only there when they show up and they see you,
Right.
and then the rest of the time you're just preparing for the next Sunday.
Yeah. And there is a lot of preparation.
Sure.
But that's not the only thing I do by any means. And so it's managing all those different things so that I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a pastor to a sizable congregation of people.
Yeah.
And so helping them with their different needs. And so I've got to be flexible, but also be focused.
Yeah. Ooh, be
Oh,
focused.
wow, those are good words.
there was-
Flexible and focused.
Earlier we were talking about stewardship, and
Yes.
you happened to mention that one of your things that you get to do is to empower people to really understand what that means. Stewardship.
And stewardship is one of those words, a lot of people aren't familiar with it, and they think the way it's used oftentimes that it's just about money. And it's not the case. Stewardship is about managing all that's been entrusted to us. And that's a challenge all the time.
Oh, absolutely. So when we're talking about stewardship, you're not just talking about, okay, I've got a budget, I'm sticking to my budget, but also about your time and maybe the children in your life,
Children,
your relationship with your
Yep.
wife.
Yep.
What else?
Well, really, when you talk about stewardship, what's been given to us, I'm going to look at it in the aspect of, I've telling people that I'm a man of my word.
Yes.
Right. So how would you apply stewardship in that to continue to maintain that type of character?
Well, I think one of the important things, being a Christian, one of the first things that I tell people is that it's not mine. It is God's. Everything is God's, and God has entrusted everything that I have to me for me to manage. It's not mine. You could cue the birds from Finding Nemo, when they
Right.
see things, they're like, mine, mine,
Oh, yeah,
mine,
yeah,
mine.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. It may look like yours. You may think it's yours. It's not mine. It's something entrusted to me. My kids, my wife, the work that I do, all of that has been something that is entrusted and gifted to me. So then how I use that is my stewardship.
Wow, I
stewardship.
love that. So instead of mine like ownership, like I own this, it's more like mine, like my responsibility to
Bingo.
ensure that this is managed correctly.
Exactly.
Wow,
And I
that's
think
powerful.
I think you can wrap that back to that's what it means to be a person of your word, person of integrity.
Yes.
That you're not going to squander it.
Exactly. It's something that belongs to somebody else. I need to use it well so that the person who owns it says, well done, good job. That you used what I gave to you well, I'll give you more.
Oh, wow.
That's a
And
good-
that is really powerful, because when we think about more, sometimes we think about more like, okay, well, I'm gonna have more stuff. But I think, really, when we think about stewardship and that we're gonna give more, once we prove ourselves, actually we find that the more is more responsibility to steward over additional things, whatever that is.
So I hear it's written somewhere where it says, "To whom much is given, much is required."
Exactly.
Right, and
Yes.
I think that when you're dealing with fathers that are in penitentiary in the prison, right, guys, that we took everything for granted. Right, when you find yourself in a place of where you don't get to open your refrigerator anymore,
Right.
You don't get to drive a car anymore. You don't get to hug your children or your wife, or you don't get to do those things that I think that normal society has really taken for granted. That what, this isn't a right, this is a privilege. Or I'm sorry, this isn't a privilege.
This is
but
a right.
This is a right. I have a right to drive a car. And I remember when I first came home from prison, and Cathy, we were going somewhere.
we're gonna go there.
Yeah, I gotta
You're
go there.
gonna go there.
I always go there because Cathy was like, "We're gonna be late. We're gonna go faster, go faster." I said, and I asked her, "So do you think it's a right or a privilege to have a driver's license?"
So the speed limit is 55, and he's going 55, and I was like, "Ron, it's okay. Go 59. Go 59." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna follow the law."
Right.
So, because I understand that the driver's license is not a right, but it's a privilege. And I've been given the responsibility to maintain the right to use it, or the privilege to use it, I should say.
And what people don't see oftentimes is that when you use that responsibility wisely, effectively, you are given more responsibility. And so, and this is really counterintuitive. This is something we don't expect, is when you give away an appropriate amount to the benefit of others, it actually enriches you. And that is a key part of the responsibility of stewardship, is that we are disciplined in giving away.
Wow.
And in giving away, we receive.
Wow,
That
that's
is real good.
So we
Go
got to
ahead.
take a break.
Yep.
And so when we come back, we're going to hear more about stewardship. We're going to hear more about what you do, but more about why. Why is stewardship important, and why do you do what you do? So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO, and today we have with us a very special guest, Pastor Jim, and we've been talking a little bit about stewardship and what really is stewardship. And I love the conversation that it's not just about money, it's not just about budgeting, but it's really about taking responsibility and managing things well. So in this segment, we really want to talk about why. Why does that even matter? Why is that important?
Why is it important?
Why is it important? It's important because it keeps our priorities straight. When we get into a mindset that what I have is mine, our world becomes smaller. But when we realize that everything I have has been entrusted to me, and I'm simply a caretaker of what has been entrusted to me, then my priorities shift. Because by myself, I can be very selfish.
Yeah.
Oh,
I want this, I want that, I want all these things, and we are marketed to incessantly. I mean, people are trying to sell you stuff all the time because you won't be happy until you have this, or you have that, or you need a bigger car, you need a bigger house, you need more. And that's simply not true. Rather, to enjoy what you have right in front of you, and then to manage all that you have, and then being able to use those resources for the benefit of not just myself, but others. And then you find your life enriched in ways you never would have expected.
I found that when I came home from prison, having served 15 years and really leaving from a state of the mental aspect of poverty, that when I was able to acquire something and still evolving and growing out of this type of thinking, but when I first came home, I was clinging onto it.
Yes.
I mean, so what would you recall when individuals, when they're coming out of prison, because we're trying to play catch up, and then we see all the lights, the bright lights and the glamour, and really, I joked about this, but Walmart was my favorite place, right?
And I'm going to just, if you don't mind, I'm going to put you out there a little bit.
Yep.
So Ron gets his first check, and so he's got his money in his wallet. And we go somewhere, and Ron's like, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't have any money. I'm sorry, I don't have any money." I said, "Ron TYRO, you have your whole check in your wallet, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, but I got to hang on to that because I might need it."
Right.
And I was like, "Well, okay, so you might need it, but in 2 weeks you're going to get another check."
Right.
And he was like, "Yeah, okay, all right, fine." But that whole mindset of this is all I'm going to get was.
I had
to
overcome that and really understand that. By me clinging on to it, I wasn't doing not only me a good service, but those around me a good service. Because now I don't even know what I'm forming another type of penitentiary now.
Yes.
I'm walking in fear.
Exactly. Right. And we don't see that prison. It's not as obvious as when you're in jail behind bars, but you can be just as imprisoned by debt. You can be just as imprisoned by fear. And so one of the rules that I use with people is called 10-10-80.
10-10-80.
10-10-80.
Let me write that.
let's write that down.
10,
10, 10, 80 is a simple idea that you save 10%,
Okay.
you give away 10%, and you live on the 80%.
Yep.
Yep.
And by having that discipline, obviously saving 10%, it's hard. I mean, my
Right.
kids still struggle with that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I don't have that much money. Rent costs a lot. Food costs a lot. Oh, all these costs. Yeah. But if you aren't saving 10%, you won't have anything for
Right.
your future.
Right.
Then the other part that's really hard for people to wrap their brains around is to give away 10%.
Right. Oh, I'm barely making it. How could I possibly give away 10%?
10%. I'm going like, oh, that's a lot. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, yeah. But it disciplines you to live with the 80. Because no matter how much you have,
Yeah.
you can blow it.
Right.
How many NFL players, how many NBA
yeah.
players make millions of dollars, and yet statistics have shown between 60 and 70% of them go bankrupt
Yep.
5 years after they retire.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they can't sustain it. All they do is spend.
They don't know how to manage what they have, to live within that 80%, save 10, give away 10, and do it in a way that's sustainable.
Yeah, that's a good word, because I know from my upbringing and background and where I was able to meet and hang out with a lot of guys, right? Called prison, right?
Yeah.
We would make $18 a month, and sometimes you might get more money or get home money from the street, but even blowing that, not really understanding the principle we're supposed to learn, because back to what I said earlier, to whom much is given, much is required. But he who is faithful in the little things will be faithful in the most things. But if you're not faithful in the little things, that $18 or $20, then definitely you are not going to be faithful in the bigger things.
We always think, well, when I have more, oh, I can do this when I have more. And it's a lie.
Right.
It's just simply a lie, because I've found people who have tremendous amount of resources, and it's never enough.
Right.
I've known people who've made six-figure incomes, and their combined incomes, over $200,000, and yet so far in debt, that way more debt than they have that they can cover, and they're constantly living with paycheck to paycheck, even though they make a lot of money.
Yeah. And I think when we think about stewardship, one word that comes to my mind is self-control. Like why be good stewards? Like really learning to self-manage
Yes.
those resources, and that will then spill out into other areas of your life. If you can manage your finances and you can manage your giving with the 10-10-80, it'll be a lot easier to manage the other areas of your life as well.
We function so much better when we're not stressed. And by managing our day-to-day activities, by managing our resources, we find that we're more at peace, we have more joy, there's more satisfaction. Life is not a panic. Life is not
what
this
a good
kind
word.
of like, that you're out of control.
Right.
You know, this has been amazing. My mind is just running here. Because the first thing I see when you said it, life it'll relieve the stress. It will bring health to the relationships you're in when you're balancing yourself and not allowing the money to dictate your life.
Bingo.
But you dictate it. So we come back.
Yeah, we got to take a short break.
We're going to be talking with Pastor Jim a little bit more. And really, if you can help us, how do you make all this stuff up? How do you make this work? Right? And that's what we want to talk about when we come back. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss these nuggets. So we'll be right back.
Dear son, it's been hard these last few years, watching you grow up without me in the picture. Never taking the time to find out how you were or what was going on in your life. You're just a boy, I thought. You don't need me. I didn't need my dad. He was never around, I told myself. But I was wrong, son. I'm supposed to be a grown man. I was selfish. I was stupid. I was thinking of me, not you. If I could go back, son, and change things, I would. It's taken me all this time being selfish to finally grow up and realize I need to be a responsible man. That's what I finally learned, not from prison, but the TYRO program. It's all about becoming a better, stronger man. Wish I would have gotten it sooner. Everything looks different to me now. I'm a changed person. I know I need to be there for you now. It's not about me anymore. It's not about being cool. It's not about who I run with. It's about mom. It's about you. It's about being a better man, learning something new in my life. It's about being a TYRO, a man worth following. I'm your dad. You're my son, and I love you. I am a TYRO. I'm a TYRO. Dad.
If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO or just want to know more, contact your local Ridge Project facilitator or your caseworker.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO.
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
And we have had the great honor and privilege of speaking with Pastor Jim about stewardship. And I tell you what, this is actually convicting and impacting me personally on a personal level. You know, I've been home 11 years now, and I'm still, my pocket, they still burn, right? Whenever I got some money in there.
Especially in Walmart.
You know, and then at the same time on the other pocket, it's like, don't go in there, keep it there, right? And so I think this is really helping me. It can help, and I know it's helping those who are not only watching it, but I also believe that if what we're doing here isn't impacting us, then why are we doing it? And this, I believe, is not only impacting us, but anybody who would watch it.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about how. So we've talked a lot about, what stewardship is and why it's important, but now, like, how do we practice stewardship?
I find it's something that I practice every day, where how am I going to manage my day? And so now your days are pretty well managed for you. But when you get out, the freedom that you have is part of not just freedom from some things, but freedom to do things.
Good word.
And so how do you use that freedom wisely? Again, if it's just about me, I can be very selfish and inward focused. And that becomes a problem down the road because we can't be sufficient by ourselves. You know, I'm married, I have kids, I have people that I help support. And so I need to take care of myself. And so exercise. I did 10 leg lifts this morning before I came over this morning because I need to take care of my body. I try to eat sensibly. I splurge once in a while, but not all the time. So exercise is key. I try to exercise my mind. And so I use spiritual disciplines. Prayer, worship, study are a key part of my spiritual disciplines. But then managing what I have, or stewardship, is another spiritual discipline. It's just a discipline just like my prayer life. And so how I utilize the resources around me. So the bills, I pay the bills right away. I don't put more on my credit card than I can pay off in one shot. And so people are tempted to buy a lot with credit, and people are encouraged, again, we're marketed to expend the limit.
Yep.
You know, I hear everything you said, and what came to my mind is on how to make it applicable is because guys, I think one of the things we value, at least I do, and I think in our culture, is our automobile. Right? You know, we want to take care of, I take care of my cars. I take care of Cathy's car. I make sure that car is going to get her from point A to point B because I don't want to get the phone call in the middle of the night. Hey, I need you to pick me up, or in the middle of the day. Hey, the car broke down. I know those things happen, but as long as I can do preventative maintenance, right, and I'm
it's
taking
more than just putting gas in the tank.
That's right.
Yes.
You got to put gas in the tank, otherwise you're going to only go so far. But you also know you got to change the oil. You know, you got to make sure that the tires are okay. Now, I just got notice from our car dealership that says, your tires are getting kind of worn. And so I know eventually, another 10,000 miles or so, I'm going to need new tires.
Right.
And so you've already anticipated that coming.
Yes.
So you've already began planning your budget to where, because we know today's tires, a good tire runs you $200. And so there's 4 of them, right? So you got to have the cash on hand. Because I went to got new tires on my car about just 8 months ago, and they have a big sign, we finance.
Tires. We're like, oh.
Whoa, who's financing tires?
Yeah, but it's something where people are not in the habit of saving. And so when expenses come up, then they're always having to dig into this debt and this credit, which adds to their debt, and it becomes a vicious cycle. So anticipating those things is something where my management of resources is so that I've got something set aside
And you're ready.
so that there's funds to cover those expenses.
Right.
Now, my kids are still coming up to speed on that.
Oh, sure, sure. Well, your kids are how old? Are they adults?
Yeah, they're adults. I've got a 29-year-old and a 26-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, I just recently came up to speed. Is what I'm saying. I'm not. You know
I'm
what?
glad to know.
You know, and you know, when I first came home, my excuse was, I just got out.
Yeah.
I just got out. You know,
And then I finally say, okay, that's not working
it's
anymore.
not working. But really coming up to speed with that, and really, the greatest thing I think that when you can really say, you know what, at the end of the day, praise the Lord. Right? Can I say
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
I can pay the bills because I know what it's like to not be taken at my word.
That's right.
I know what it's like to never be able to get credit. I know what it's like to be that deadbeat person where, you know what, I can't go to a bank and even ask for a promissory note.
Because I maxed all of my credit cards.
Because
and then I couldn't
my
pay them.
word is doo-doo.
Right.
Right,
Nobody can take me at my word because
Right.
of my history.
right.
But now that I've reestablished that, I do everything to hold on to that. I cherish having a good name.
Yes.
And that's what I think when good stewardship, having a good name here, having a good name with my kids, having a
Right.
good name with the people that come around me,
Yes.
that what I say I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do.
And that
right?
goes back to being a leader in your home, your community, and your workplace. Because if your word is doo-doo, if you can't manage it, everybody sees it.
Yep.
I mean, that's the crazy thing. Now that we're on the other side of this and we understand the responsibility of good stewardship, it's like we watch people and we thought we were invisible, like nobody else could see how crazy we were and unable to exercise self-control. But now you see it. I mean, you watch people credit, and then you watch them pulling their hair out because they can't meet their bills.
Right. Well, in my congregation, you can only stay anonymous so long.
Right.
And the relationships are really key. One of the things that I really appreciated from my dad growing up was he said the best gift you can give your kids is to love their mother. Well, that set the tone. Earlier on, I mentioned about priorities. You know, if my priority is myself, you know, I can convince myself of all kinds of things that I need, that I want, all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. But if I also have priority of loving my wife, loving my kids, and loving my wife and my kids isn't just giving them gifts or giving them stuff, but by being a loving husband, being a loving father, and caring for them and being there with them and for them. And then, yes, there will be some things that we want to provide as well. But in that loving relationship then, my word takes flesh and blood.
Yeah.
It's embodied.
Yeah.
And then you know your words have some meat on it.
Yeah.
Well, what I hear is you're no longer a cloud without rain,
Yes, exactly.
right? You are that essence that you're bringing that stability and that steadiness to your family.
Yeah.
And that means you got to be a good steward, a good steward with what you have.
Yeah.
And we're gonna pause right there. Take our final break. When we come back, we're gonna wrap it all up and tie it up with a bow and give you 3 things that you can do right now, where you are, to help you practice stewardship. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss this.
We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Catherine TYRO's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron TYRO,
And I'm Cathy TYRO.
and we have been having a wonderful, wonderful time with Pastor Jim Wenger. Did I say it?
That's good. Yeah. Wenger.
Wenger. With the knee.
You know, it's just been refreshing for me to hear that these principles you're describing on how to be a steward with everything that has been empowered to you, it's not rocket science. You're talking about discipline.
And it will work for anybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, oftentimes people are afraid to talk about money. You know, that somehow that's a subject, you know, like sex that we should never talk about. But practicing 10-10-80 is a key thing that we can do wherever we're at or however much money we have. Earlier we were talking about that when you're in prison that you only get like $18 a month.
Yep.
That's not a lot of money.
Right.
But you can still practice 10-10-80
That's right.
with that. So 10% to save would be what? $1.60.
10% of $18.
Of 18.
Yeah.
$1.60.
$1.80.
Yeah.
$1.60?
$1.60. Which one is it?
For 10% of 18 is $1.80.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
so then the 10% then to give away, and you combine those two, and it's $3.60.
Yes.
Out of the $18.
So guys, so that
That's
isn't, when you
20%.
put it that way, that's doable.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to.
$3.60
So a
a
case of
month.
ramen noodle soup, right? I think you get like 24 soups. I think that costs $1.80, right? I think maybe more, guys. I don't remember, but still, can we sacrifice $1.80 for our future?
Right.
And then the
right.
other $1.80, when we think about, you know, that $1.80 that to actually give away, like how are they going to do that?
Well, you mean they could get you guys know about the cashier's slip. Find somebody, and you know what? And if you don't give it away to a higher JC's or Red Cross or somebody that's in there, or even one of those type of organizations on the street, set that other $1.80 and send that check home to your family.
So in addition to sending it home to your family, you could choose an organization. It could be a faith-based organization or a community-based organization, and send it to them. And if you don't want to spend the stamp on spending it just every month, save that up and send it every quarter, so that you're sending out that give back part. So what's the second one? So the first one is 10-10-80.
Another one is managing our time. And so instead of just watching TV all the time, spend time renewing your mind. So prayer is a daily discipline. Studying is a daily discipline. Writing cards or notes to people that you love and continuing to develop and nurture relationships
That's
that are
good.
important to you.
That's good stuff, because I mean, a lot of the times what compels guys in there is soap operas. You know, they're in that. So this would be a good time to write a letter, study, show yourself approved, you know, become better for when you leave there, you're more gifted and qualified.
And so one more. What's our third thing that we can do?
Third one is, you know, to share this with our families. You know, talk to our wives about how our finances going. Talk with our kids about how are they managing what they have, because you know, people think it just happens. No, you have to learn it. You have to exercise it, and in doing that, in sharing with your family, these are things that I've learned. And then it reinforces itself.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
Well, we don't teach practice makes perfect. We teach practice makes permanent. Right?
Yep.
And so that's what you're talking about. So we have had
we're out of time.
And we've had a wonderful time with Pastor Jim.
Yeah,
Great.
thank
Good
you
being
so
with you.
much.
It's
been
Thanks so
awesome.
much for joining us. We are definitely going to have you back again.
Lovely.
And we're going to have a great time.
So thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey, and we do hope you're able to take some of these great nuggets and apply them in your everyday life.
So always remember until next time that
We are rooting for you.